Okay, welcome back to my 32 and 32. This time I'm looking at the Detroit Red Wings. As I do in all my videos, I like to display their home jersey and their reverse retro as well. And to me, this Detroit one kind of reminds me of the Chicago one, which I reviewed just previously. When it just looks plain Jane, just has their name across their jersey. Again, maybe they had this jersey at one point in time where they just had their letters on it. But to me, it just doesn't really do anything. I'm not sure. I'm not that big on it. I can't rate jerseys from 1 to 10, but this would definitely be in the lower column to say the least. So I'm just going to go over a few signings that they've done thus far, and then I will get on to their season that has just passed and look at the rosters on their team. So they have brought in from Toronto Justin Hall. He has signed a 2-year contract. They have also signed Clint Costin to a 2-year deal as well with the Red Wings. He was brought over with a trade from the Red Wings. Yamamoto was part of that trade as well, but then he got bought out and yada, yada, yada. He's now a member of another team. And I will discuss that when I get into said teams as well. A few other signings. They have brought James Reimer, the goaltender, in from the San Jose Sharks. And then a few other guys. They brought in Daniel Sprong. He last played with Seattle Kraken just a season ago. Shane Gostisbehere. He played last year. I think he was a split, but he did play with the Carolina Hurricanes at the end of the said year. What is this? Fisher. Christian Fisher has spent the last X amount of season with the Arizona Coyotes, so now he is a member of the Detroit Red Wings. And I have just exited what I was looking at, so bear with me. Lyon. Was Alex Lyon. So he was like the third string goaltender for the Florida Panthers. Once Knight went down, he was basically the backup. He did play 3 games in their postseason last year with the Florida Panthers. And then I'm just going to look at a few more. I know they have had a few big name signings. Just going to see if I can scroll through and see who else I can find that really stands out. Sam Rafferty? Is that who that is? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, who is this? Oh my gosh. Brogan Rafferty. Okay, never mind. He was part of the Seattle Kraken, but he's just spent most of the last season with the AHL, with their AHL affiliates. Um, who else do they got? Luff. They've actually had quite a few signings. They've signed Matt Luff and Gustav Lindstrom, but they were just AHL guys or guys on like two-way contracts. And then obviously the big name was that Detroit brought over was from the Colorado Avalanche, JT Compher. I'm sure he'll fit in just fine in that Detroit top 6 for a role. Um, so yeah, I'll just get on with their last. So the recap, I should say. I apologize. So they finished last year 35 wins, 37 losses, and 10 overtime / shootout losses for a grand total of 80 points. Missing the playoffs for the 7th straight season. The last time they made the playoffs was in 2016 when they played the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they got ousted in 5 games. So it's been a long time for the Red Wings and to see any postseason action, which is crazy because prior to them missing the playoffs, I think they made it for almost like 20 years in a row before that streak finally came to an end in the 2016-2017 campaign. So I'll take a look at their roster and see who has re-signed and who is still available and who may have left and taken their talents elsewhere. So I'll click on the NHL, scroll down to the Red Wings. So I'll take a look at their goaltending situation first. So I did mention that they have brought over James Reimer. It's got to adjust this here. Bear with me. So James Reimer is a member of the Red Wings. Ville Husso is still signed for 2 more seasons. I believe Alex Nedeljkovic, if I'm even pronouncing that name correctly, he's not coming back. And if Magnus Hellberg's coming back, he might be on like a 2-way contract. I haven't seen his name pop up on my screen. So we'll take a look at their forwards and their defensemen and see what they got. So Jonathan Bergen has 1 more left to go on his contract. Ben Sherratt has 3 more years left to go on his deal. Alex Chiasson has signed a PTO with the Boston Bruins. Andrew Kopp has 4 more years left to go on his contract. Austin Zernick has 1 more left to go on his deal. Simon Edmondson has 2 more years left to go on his contract. Take a look at Ernie. Adam Ernie, he's still available. He's still a free agent. Robbie Fabry has 2 more years left to go on his contract. Robert Haig has signed with the Anaheim Ducks. Marco KASPER has 2 more years left to go on his contract. Dominic Kubalik was traded to the Ottawa Senators. Dylan Larkin's contract did run up at the end of the season, but he has signed 8 years at $8.7 million. And for a guy who is the face of the franchise and only 27 years old, that's a pretty decent contract, I got to say, for him. Gustav Lindstrom, I didn't mention, has been re-signed, unless he was traded to I want to say he was traded to the Montreal Canadiens. I thought he was, at least. But that's a big question mark now. Matt Luff, I just mentioned, has re-signed. Obi Mata was on a 1-year deal, but he is now signed for 2 more years at $3 million. So he'll be there for the next 2 seasons at minimum. Jordan Oesterle has signed with the Calgary Flames. David Perron has 1 more year left to go on his contract. Matt Piesk, he is still a free agent. Michael Rasmussen has 1 more year left to go on his contract. Lucas Raymond has 1 more year left to go on his deal as well, as does Moritz Seider. Pius Suter has signed with the Vancouver Canucks. And Joe Veleno, I don't see his name. He has re-signed with the Detroit Red Wings. Jake Wallman, his contract did expire this past season, but he has signed an extension 3 years at $3.4 million. And Philip Zadina was bought out, and I believe he is now signed with the San Jose Sharks. So the Detroit Red Wings, like I said, 7 straight years missing the playoffs. Not very good for that. But there should be optimism. And when you have Stevie Y as your GM, look at the great things he did with the Tampa Bay Lightning in his tenure there. So coming into this upcoming season, I honestly think it's going to be 8 straight years without any playoff success. But I just think that with each year, they should improve winning-wise, in my perspective. And I'm sure at some point they will be able to contend for a postseason spot or a playoff spot. I just think that Atlantic Division is just extremely tough when you have the likes of Boston, Tampa Bay, Toronto. If Florida can play as well as they did last season, that they could possibly be, that's 4 teams right there in your Atlantic Division that could eye a spot in the postseason. And I just don't see only 3 teams from this Metropolitan Division getting in. So I think just like the Western Conference, I think it's going to be split 4-4 when it comes to teams from said divisions making it into the big dance. So that's my recap and my preview for the Detroit Red Wings. Until next time, thank you all for tuning in, and take care.